I'm joined live in studio by the coolest man in the stratosphere. It's Mr. Nile Rodgers of the Chic Organisation. Hello, Niall.
Hey, how are you? The coolest man? Okay.
Well, it's true. Our cool quotient has just risen by about 200% by the fact that you're in the studio.
Thank you very much. I appreciate that.
How are you?
I'm very, very well. I've been in my room, locked away, writing music for 2 days, and it's been great.
Excellent. Have you been in Dublin for the last couple of days?
Yeah. I arrived early in the morning 2 days ago, and I've not left my room. You got me out of my room for the first time.
Well, I feel bad now because I don't want to be the man that stops Nile Rodgers from creating music.
No. It's cool. Actually, I just wrote a really cool riff right before I left the room, and it was perfect.
Would this be a riff now and writing for a new Chic album now?
Yeah, that's the job I'm now tasked with.
Okay. Tell us, it's going to be the first one in years.
In a gazillion years. What happened was, as I started to collaborate with people over the last couple of years, I realized how much fun it was, and actually the essence of almost every Chic song has always been a collaboration. Even though almost everything starts with me, I would always throw it to Bernard Edwards, my former partner, and say, okay, what do you think about this? And either he would say it's great, or we got to change this, we got to change that. There was always some thing where you believed in someone else.
Yes.
So this process that I've been involved with for the last couple of years with, Avicii, with Daft Punk, with Chase and Status, and on and on and on, and most recently Disclosure, and I mean, we've been killing it. It's insane. And I found that the more people I do it with, the more people I collaborate with, the more the juices start to flow in my head. So, it's like I get down with one person, we start doing stuff, and then I remember the things that they said, and then that takes me to another part of the process.
When do you sleep? Because you do so much.
Well, see, that's the interesting thing, is that since I was a child, since I was around 5.5 years old, they determined that I only required about 3.5 to 4 hours sleep a night.
Okay.
And that's been since I was a child. So I don't even usually get those 4 hours continuously. Sometimes I get it 20 minutes at a time, 30 minutes at a time, which is interesting because I'm always working.
And I saw from your tweets earlier today, you were up pretty early this morning as well for breakfast. So what time did you go?
Oh, that was nothing. I was up at 2 a.m. I haven't stopped. I fell asleep last night maybe around 11:30, and I woke up at 2, and I've been up since.
And you've been writing since 2 a.m.?
I've been writing, a combination of writing, contacting people back home, because I'm new Chic album, so I'm negotiating which record company I'm going to go with, and most of the headquarters are all on the West Coast. So in Los Angeles, at 2 a.m. here, they're just having dinner there.
I think it's fair to say, Niall, that Chic stock has never been higher since the late 70s than it is now. Would that be fair to say?
Yeah, I guess maybe to the public at large.
Yes.
But to a certain underground following, and when I say underground, it's an interesting term because our underground following is pretty large.
It's huge. Yeah.
It's not exactly underground, but it is underground in that it never seems like the gatekeepers, if we'll call them that, seem to know how to reach them, but we always do. I mean, for a very long time, our shows have been selling out, and a lot of the promoters don't really know how it happens.
Right.
And I don't know how it happens.
I know how it happens.
You do?
It's the music, Niall. It's the songs. It's your songs. I mean, how many anthems have you written and co-written and produced? You go and see your show. You go and see your show, and it's just hit after hit, and it reminds people of the times in their lives, happy times in their lives, because it's up music.
Yeah, well, that's sort of what we stand for.
Yeah.
The biggest problem for us is that we never have enough time.
Yeah.
The last time we did a proper 3-hour show, unfortunately, was the night Bernard Edwards died.
I remember.
And then that was a 3-hour show, and even then we were still scratching the surface, but we got a chance to do Steve Winwood, Duran Duran, everything. It was great.
Can I bring you back to when Bernard passed? It was incredibly sad, obviously, for Chic fans. None more so than for you, his collaborator and best friend. But it must have given you some comfort that you had just played a 3-hour show, that he went having literally doing what he loves.
Yeah, absolutely. And in a very peculiar way, I've been somewhat jealous of that. I mean, it was probably for a musician the most romantic passing ever. We had just finished the third of a series of 3 huge concerts at the Budokan. And for us, this was a very significant, symbolic thing because when we were kids, Cheap Trick live at the Budokan was really cool album. Yes. So Chic live at the Budokan, to us, that was like really a pretty dope idea. Yeah. And so Bernard passed out midway through the show, unbeknownst to me, because it was really my show couched as a whatever, Nile Rodgers super producer, whatever. But I couldn't imagine doing this stuff without Bernard. So I was standing downstage, and I didn't notice he had passed out, and he had actually stopped playing in the middle of doing the song, the Bowie song "Let's Dance." Yeah. And he dropped out in such a perfect place. I kept thinking to myself while trying to entertain the crowd, why the hell didn't I think of doing the record like that? Not realizing that he'd actually passed out. And when he recovered, he started playing bass seemingly in what I also thought was the right place. And I said, Jesus, this guy is so musical. And then after we took an intermission, he told me they had passed out. They revived him. And we continued on to the end. And, and then that was it. After that, we went home to the hotel and he passed away. Insane.
I mean, how do you learn to cope with that, Niall? Somebody who you bounced ideas off, who you co-wrote so many anthems with. How do you cope with the loss of your main collaborator? How do you start to get over that?
It was very difficult, but the good thing for me, if we can call anything good, was the fact that Bernard had always sort of taken care of me my whole life. I mean, I was the wild, hippie, crazy guy with the nutty hair.
I've
and
read
all
your
that
book.
Yeah, okay, well, okay. So this was the one time in our lives that we had a role reversal, that I could take care of him. Yeah. Bernard died in Japan, and they don't believe in embalming and things like that. So I had to go to the military base, find, and get his body transported back to America. And I'm not usually I'm typically not the responsible one when it comes to Chic. I'm the fun guy. Even though I'm the boss, I still, you can tell my band, you can see we're just like buddies. Yeah. We're just out there having a great time. So this was really a very difficult situation, but because I had to rise to the occasion, that's what sort of propelled me forward, and I did what I had to do for his family, and then then the sort of drama and the reality set in.
Yeah. Well, listen, let's go to things
fun stuff. Let's talk about music.
Yes. Hey. Well, listen to me. You're touring Ireland. I mean, you've always got a great reception in Ireland.
It's been amazing.
Yeah, I remember you guys playing at the Tripod about 3 or 4 years back, and it was a phenomenal show. I mean, that's no surprise. But you're here for an extended stay this time. You're in Dublin.
It's like we're living here.
Yeah. Why not? Why not live here?
Yeah, I hear you.
You should. You get an apartment here in town, and you can knock into each other and trade riffs.
I'm down.
So you're here for quite a while. You're in Vicar Street tonight, and you tour the country and come back then to Vicar Street for 2 nights next week. Yeah, it's not the easiest life. You must love what you're doing.
Well, we hate the traveling part, but we love the performing part. Yeah. The traveling part is terrible because, one, you're not in control of all of the stuff, and and Mother Nature is out there in control, and quite often we go to countries and there's a general strike or something, and sometimes we have to eat dreadful food. But that said, when we get on the stage, all of that seems completely irrelevant and certainly worth it.
And you remember why you do it.
Yeah, the people have been amazing. Like I said, my biggest lament is we never have enough time. Because we have, if you look at our set list, what I have on the floor at my feet is probably a 2-hour set list, and that's already truncated. That really should be a 3 or 4 hour set list. And I'm out there calling, okay, let's do this one, let's do that one, let's do this. Hey, we're in Dublin, let's play something. I don't know.
Well, listen, I want to mention the Chic organisation Up All Night compilation that was released earlier this year. You've now done I wouldn't say a remix, but an annex to it, the disco version. Tell us a bit about that.
What happened is I contacted Madonna, and I contacted Duran and some other wonderful folks who've been an incredible part of my life, and added new stuff to it. And we're trying something really new. We're I came up with this stupid concept. I said, I want to see if Chic can be like the Grateful Dead of dance music. Like if we can just sort of travel around the world and just do different songs that we've written and produced and all sorts of stuff and just see how that flies.
Yeah.
So I'm just adding some stuff to the album just to see if fans appreciate what we're doing. Yeah, it's really a test. I don't know. We'll see if it flies.
Because you look at the track listing of it and the compilation that was released earlier this year, and like I said to you earlier, it's just I know that. Oh, that's on it. I know that.
My mom says that to me.
People may not know all the stuff you've done. If I throw some names at you, will you tell me word association, the first thing that comes to mind?
Sure.
Okay, let's go. David Bowie.
Let's Dance.
David Lee Roth.
Oh, God, Filthy Little Mouth.
B-52s.
Love Shack.
Rick Ocasek.
You're living in the fireball zone.
Depeche Mode.
Route 66.
Jesus, you're good. Duran.
God, Notorious.
Reflex.
Reflex. I mean, Duran, we're still unbelievably great friends. We played Hyde Park and Simon Le Bon came out and sang Notorious with us.
Brian Ferry.
Brian Ferry, every single song that he's done for the last 20 or 30 years.
Mick Jagger?
Mick Jagger, I did his first solo album.
She's the Boss, was it?
Yeah, She's the Boss. And put him together with, Bowie, and we did Dancing in the Streets together for Live Aid.
Two more. Jeff Beck.
Jeff Beck, my favorite guitar player, damn near of all time. I did an album with him, I think called, what was it, Flash or something? But that was my first rock Grammy instrumental.
First of many.
Well,
and In Excess.
In Excess, man, that was one of the greatest relationships in my life. I met the band in Toronto, and Michael Hutchins and we became unbelievably great friends. We were going to actually build a recording studio together in Phuket Island, Thailand. And then he passed away, and I just adore In Excess. I love those guys. I miss Michael. It was just extraordinary blow.
Let's stop talking about death, will we?
Pardon me?
We're talking about death.
Yeah, I know. But the great thing is, okay, here's a great In Excess story. You know that.
Go.
So the song we did, Original Sin, is their only #1 record. Where they come from in Australia, their biggest record of all time. We did that song in one take.
Wow.
And my whole career is filled with a lot of one-take hit records.
Wow. Well, that's it. It's if it's right on the first go, why change it?
That's it.
I'm being waved at here now to say that you are needed downstairs in Today FM. So I'll ask you one final question.
Shoot.
The Phantom 500 is a thing we do every year where we ask our listeners to vote on 500 somethings. Last year it was their favourite albums.
Mm-hmm.
They take 5 and we collate all the votes and we spit them out.
Mm-hmm.
This year we're doing 500 musical icons. I'd like to ask you, who springs to mind as your most influential musicians?
Wow. Like in a split second, what came to my head was John Coltrane, Miles Davis, Jimi Hendrix, David Bowie, and Bernard Edwards.
Wow. That's a hell of a top 5, Niall. A hell of a top. Listen, we'll let you go. We're so delighted that you came in to chat to us today.
It's wonderful.
Especially when you're playing tonight.
Thank you.
I know you're so busy. We'll see you at Vicar Street
cool.
tonight or next week.
Or whenever.
And
just any world place in Ireland.
Any time at all. And next time you'll come back and see us again when you tour again.
Indeed, absolutely.
Thank you very much. You're probably sick of this. We played Le Freak earlier and we played Give Life Back to Music. So I'm going to play Get Lucky.
Excellent.
Thank you very much, Mr. Nile Rodgers.
Thank you, bro. Cheers.
We are Phantom.